Let's go over into that right now. Oh, we don't have the time to actually see it. I'm a little bit late here. It does look like we have a... We'll go over their units in the tab menu. Lions defending, Infamous on the attack side. Once again, I have absolutely no goddamn sound on literally anything. I'm replaying Highlander OST. Guys, give me something else that I could run in the background. Undertale? Epic Orchestral Medley? Is that something I can run in the background? I don't know. It has to be copyright free. Ah, whatever. Whatever. We just won't have background music and it'll just be me speaking the entire time. Let us go into this on Infamous attacking Lions on Hidden City. Tribe immediately coming out getting the Ballista. All my homies hate ballistas. Let us go over the unit composition here. Looking fairly normal by both sides. I'm not seeing anything crazy out of the ordinary by either side. Yeah, it just looks like a fairly standard comp. This guy has 5 units, which is crazy. This is a normal tower denial map, so this we do have quite a while before anything will really show up here. Looks like we get the left side. Let's go back and get a little bit back here so we can see from defender's POV. Attacker POV doesn't matter. We do have the double culverin lion back here with the double culverin back here. So culverins everywhere. Gonna be a great job by Alliance to defend this. Alright, placing most of our artillery down. Still, towers are getting fairly close, but I believe they still have time. Left tower at 1 HP. Middle tower looking a little sus here by Alliance, letting it get that close, down to 1 HP. But this is a good stall if they are letting this get as close as it is. One shot? Someone's about to get talked to about missing their shots. Absolute last second tower break by Alliance. I'm sure somebody was about to get talked to about letting that tower land on first rotation if that tower did in fact land. So very good by Alliance. Actually do break that tower there. So definitely a little bit too close for comfort. I would love to see that break a little bit earlier so we're not as worried about the towers being landed. It does look like Infamous was able to snipe the culverin place, so amazing job with this mortar finding the double culverin by Alliance. So maybe this middle tower will land. We do have the double cannons for that right tower, but it looks like these mortars are training in, trying to find those cannons. Doesn't look like they will have the angle to find them, but they are trying to find them. We're just trying as much as they can, getting as much value. It does look like one of the cannons was destroyed, so Infamous doing a really good job breaking Lion's artillery. It does look like... When did these back culverins break? Okay. A second rotation of towers will land. Lion still has 8 artillery pieces. Their cannons were sniped, so they will not be able to break that right tower. It does look like they are maybe placing a comet to break it. They're thinking about it. That right tower is very important for the defenders to break. They definitely don't want people to come up it, but it doesn't look like they're placing any artillery. Instead, they're just putting all their heroes there, kind of just like, hey guys, we don't want this to land, but they are letting it land anyway. Second rotation towers landed. Lions down to 6 artillery pieces remaining. It does look like they are going to be breaking this left tower. And that double comet doing amazing damage does break the left tower. So now Infamous can come up the middle or the right tower. That's really up to them, and they probably will be coming up this right tower. Is a little bit better for the attackers to come up this right tower. Tab left for you nerds that like tab. The right tower on your screen here. Treb coming in. Will it find it? The Lions did call out the Treb. Doesn't look like that Treb will be finding any Lion member or their units. The Berserkers coming through. Oh, big hit on the Berserkers. Luckily it doesn't use a model, but those Berserkers are definitely feeling it after that ball hit their face. Go in again. Plenty of time. 6 minutes on the clock for Infamous to do a push here. Lions now on the wall. I'm getting a little worried here. They're kind of split here. Tiny, as much. So it looks like they're trying to stop them in the tower instead of kind of positioning on the middle stairs here. Or I guess left. You know it's the middle stairs. There's 3 staircases on this map. Middle stairs there. Viper's trying to find some poke. Doesn't look like they find pokes. And it will get musket bomb down to 17 models. Unfortunately, your Vipers are useless when there is a musket on the field. Coutelier Sally by Lions. Maybe a little bit of micro, just wanting them around. So another Treb coming in. Will it find anything again on the Lions as Infamous pushes in with their Treb going in? Does look like Lions will be giving up the A point, realizing that they don't want to defend their luck. Maybe a Lion gets caught. Does not look like he will be caught by any of Infamous. Muskets doing musket things, trying to poke down, trying to find something there. Wow, we have a lot of units on the side of Infamous. 2,000 versus 1,500. As Lions setting up for that B point, giving up A. Understandably so, having those 2 towers land is definitely rough, but they did invest a lot of artillery into that. In fact, 9 pieces of artillery just to lose on that second rotation of towers. Definitely something you don't want to have happen. So you now place, 8 pieces of artillery, and there's 2 mortars back here. 8 pieces of artillery for that A defense, and it really only got 1 wave of towers destroyed, so not ideal. Infamous placing a little bit of an early mortar there. Lions will just kind of come up here and break it. I'm sure someone will get talked about placing that mortar really early as Infamous now rotates their comp on the supply point there. As now, wait. See, where did it actually push? I'm just getting 2 people on this point there. Lions has both their Vipers here, so if any of Infamous's muskets were on this wall, they would get insane Ratan Viper kill value, but it doesn't look like Infamous is sending any of their muskets. It looks like actually most of their muskets have swapped. No, we still have 2 muskets, so still running that double musket chain dart. So we're running a good amount of poke there with the double musket. So Infamous now gets back on the wall. Where will they go? Will they go to the left, or will they stay at the middle staircase? Also, Infamous sending a Berserker out, but will get found by the Bastard Sword with the Yorks, and the Bastard Sword with the Yorks will absolutely ruin those Berserkers. Unfortunately, the Yorks OP. It does look like they do find 2 of the York models, so a little bit good by the DB training. At least not terribly into the Yorks, but still not something you would like to see. Now, Lions Infamous placing 2 Flaming Comets on the wall to get a little bit of rain of artillery fire down, trying to find some of these ISGs, some of these stalwarts, getting any of the artillery as they just spam a lot of artillery down. It looks like the York gets won quite handily versus the Yorks. Five minutes on the clock. Infamous placing a lot of artillery here to do bombing, placing a lot of cannons. Cannons being a little bit healthier than the mortars, able to live through a mortar shot. It does find one of Lion's Raton Vipers. So good job by Infamous. This looks like they are starting their push down into the left side point. Left side stairs. They push down. A little bit of baiting, kind of waiting. We're stalling out, waiting for our form-ups to happen. It's like Alien Militia on the Lion side getting a good throw into the blob there. Let's get a little bit more of a diagonal there. Trying to lines in Scissor Cav into the point. Doesn't look like Infamous really has as much anti-cav, only having that one Modao, and that one Modao is on the left side of the far side of the fight there, not any on the other side. It does look like Infamous is just getting farmed by the cavalry, only having that one anti-cav kind of had them get ran through there. They just were not prepared for Lion's cavalry spam. Only bringing one anti-cav just was not enough for the Yorks and Liao spam that Lion brought to that fight. It does look like Infamous does try to do supply blocking, but supply blocking will not help you when you lose the fight that quickly. A very fast fight. Still on the wall, trying to do some artillery damage. They do have a Raton Pike there, so does get some artillery damage by Infamous, but now only 3.5 minutes on the clock. Going to be very hard for Infamous to get in there as they do a now right side stairs push down. They don't have their artillery support for this fight, but see exactly how this goes. We'll get a little bit more of an aerial POV here because this has a lot of flank routes and I wish to see them as they go in. Shield means shields. Nope. Flaming Comet fake place. That's now Lion places the Flaming Comet of their own to shoot at the staircase. Doesn't look like Infamous is going to be able to. They do find the Flaming Comet and snipe it down. A little bit taking their time here, trying to get on the point. Get down the staircase as they push down. We are going to also push down with our camera as well. Fight rages on, but we have double phalanx this time, so it'll be a little bit better against Kev, but it's still looking very rough for Lions to get that much damage. Lions go straight through the phalanx archer. We do have a phalanx kind of on the wall there. Let's look like Infamous is running this a little bit better this time, holding very strong against Lion's blob there. But still looking if 50-50 where it goes. Infamous needs to get off of this fight and getting onto the supply point. They do have some people on the supply point blocking the supply, but Lions has many other supplies that they can go to pull a new unit, and it does look like Infamous is kind of struggling to keep that supply block going, especially with that Yorkist cavalry doing amazing damage on to any of Infamous getting in there. But Infamous now gets their own cav in there, but yeah, and brings Leo's into the back of Infamous, doing amazing damage, clearing out a lot of the backline damage. But this looks like it maybe gets the point. It's good. They're fighting, and it's a minute and a half remaining. You can't really fight on this point. You're never going to be able to actually capture this and pull a unit. It's going to be very hard for Infamous to get through as the respawners come in there. Infamous still fighting on the supply, not really having the use. The phalanx will go down to the triple Liaos running through quite literally everything. There's just too much Liao for those phalanx to deal with. Now they are getting. Now Infamous is pushing onto the B point. They have to just go and run down this main B side area, but nobody's watching the back as a Kuda leader goes straight through the back. They have their own Liaos to meet the Lions cavalry in the back there. Ugh. But it looks like Infamous infantry is kind of running out of steam. They just couldn't have the infantry to line up and regroup for this fight, and Lions is cleaning up very nicely. This will be a victory by the Lions. Amazing job by Lions, really deciding how this went through. Unfortunately, Infamous did not seem like they had the time to really get these pushes in, even with the second of rotation towers landing, so they have plenty of time to do these pushes. Just kind of ran out of time and was not able to use all of their units, still having 900 units remaining. Granted, 500 of those units are greens and lower, but they still have plenty of units remaining. Post battle stats, congratulations by Lions winning. Let's look at the post battle analysis graph for nerds. As you can see, these fights happen really late into the fight, a 14-minute fight, and these fights are happening at like that 10-minute mark. This is really late for attackers to really try to get any value. As you can see, they did win that second push down a bit there, but at that point it was just too little too late, as they couldn't get back onto that supply. The reinforcements never got in there, and they were not able to continue fighting, also losing a lot of heroes going loose. Let's go over our stats for nerds. Story enjoyers 1. Wagos. Story enjoyers 1. Lions 1. My bad. Lions. So you're not in story enjoyers. This is Lions 1. Jesus Christ. All right. Anyways, stats for nerds. This is Infamous' stats. So if you love stats, go ping your favorite person on their team and then be like, hey, did you do 20,000 damage with your hero? So I know I would. It looks like they a little bit towards that 200,000 average, maybe 300,000 by Infamous. Let's go over to the Lions. Lion side stats for nerds. DB doing good damage there. Lions having looks like a little bit closer to that 400,000. 350. 350,000 damage average by heroes, by units. I'm not going over that. Right, job by them. I believe now we are in our break period. Let me just double check here. Yes. We're going to be going over a 1 hour break. However, we do have, since we did not go over the AOD versus NP fight, I'm going to bring up a broadcast of that, some other streamers broadcast of it, to kind of get that view of it. Actually, let's go over the post battle of this fight before I forget, so that's more important. Before we go into AOD versus MP, AOD versus MP will be a past game, so if you let's see it, darn, as my entire fucking Google Chrome freezes into there. As we try to get. And now let us go over the AOD versus, not AOD versus, Infamous versus Lions here. Let's go back quite a bit. Now, Hidden City doesn't have the greatest of timers for its start. They do start with 11 minutes on the clock here, but you could see now Infamous does a great job doing anti-artillery here, to the point where they do get the second rotation of towers landing. Let's fast forward because we don't really care about that. The second rotation of towers landing at, you know, that 7-minute mark-ish, 6 minutes and 45-second mark, really. So 6 minutes 45, the tower lands. Great job. This is a way earlier than a lot of Hidden City matches. Most of the Hidden City matches like 2 or 3 rotations of towers land, so they have plenty of time to do really whatever they want. But you can see Infamous just plays this very slow. We're now 5 minutes, so it's been 1 minute and 45 seconds after those towers land, and they then push through. So take a little bit of extra time, but it is, you want to be grouped up in case Lions does fight over this. Oh, they do finally get the A point. right? Took us a little bit of time, but that's okay. 7 minutes on the clock, still plenty of time for Infamous to really do whatever activity they want to do. And I guess their activity they want to do is just leave the A point and swap out units, realizing, hey, we don't really have the comp to go on the floor. Let me just do a quick kind of scan of their wall composition. Yeah, not really having any anti-cav. Obviously, it's a wall fight. They don't want to bring anti-cav to a wall fight, but we spend a little bit longer of a time. We had... Oh, how long do we spend for this fight? Why did I get a ping? I don't have anything open. 7 minutes 16 seconds on the clock, and it takes us about a minute to really get through this swapping period. Just taking a little bit too long to get through the swapping period. Where are you? Shut up. Shut up, other stream. Get out of here. Alright. I'm taking a little bit too much time then rotating over here. So we're 5 minutes 45 seconds, still plenty of time to do 2, maybe 3 pushes, you know. Also, this Berserker losing to Yorkus is really funny. Good job of that infamous York player. And then into these Bastard Sword versus a Dual Blade. So it's a little bit hard there. Infamous going down. Oh, 5 minutes took us till about 5:30 to really get on this wall, and it is a good amount of artillery. We have the time to spend for this artillery, and 5 minutes on the clock pushing down is not bad. That's a respectable amount of time for this. Thank you, Dottex, for the raid. But you can see here with how they push down, how Infamous pushes down. They only have a modal, a phalanx. We only have 2 anti-cav in this entire blob, which makes it very hard for Infamous to really hold back the cav spam that kind of comes in. You kind of see how this goes through. You see how they kind of push in. And also, Infamous doesn't really have that much of a push comp. They're kind of like a you push into me composition. And they do great sitting here, but we do have our muskets. Infamous running double muskets, and not a single one of our muskets is on the wall hitting the... Hold on, I have a drawing program. Neither of our muskets on the wall hitting the very obvious Zycalian militia that are over here. A little bit of a misplay there. As you see, these Zykes do incredible farming. And Infamous does try to push out. What happened to their own Zykes here? Sig pushing down his Zykes, maybe getting a little bit too greedy. Hippie over here does an amazing job hitting the... Maybe I should do this in a green marker. Hippie over here hitting the Sig's Zykes, which is great, but our Infamous's has still not killed these Zycalian militia. So amazing job by Alliance realizing the threat of the Zycalian militia. Infamous does play really close to this wall, so it's a little bit hard for the Zycalian militia of Alliance to get the best of value, but it's still getting value compared to your Zykes getting sniped right away. Also, playing your Zykes really close here. I mean, Zykes can hit from on top of this wall all the way down, so definitely a very aggressive Zycalian militia by Sig there. It doesn't look like it really worked out for him. Hippie just being a really good musket, getting that snipe into the Zykes, and your own musket players not finding the Zycalian militia definitely makes this fight a lot harder. Also, your anti-cav just is not enough. You can see the amount of cav brought by Alliance. It's just an insane amount of cavalry, and Infamous just did not have the units to really defend here. They did try to push out from their position, and they did try to do like a hold on here, good hold here, but it just was not, they did not have enough units. No, Lions do not get to attack. It's a best of 1. So this best of 1 means that Lions just wins. As we go into that, that was the first fight. 4 minutes on the clock is still plenty of time for Infamous to get another push in. And you see they do get the other push in. But hopefully only 4 minutes left to push. Now 3 minutes on the clock. When you have 3 minutes on the clock, you would really prefer your 3 minutes to be reinforcing a fight, not getting into a fight here. Great push down here. Once again, looking at the comp here, Infamous really likes this kind of push and hold comp. There isn't many units here that like pushing into the stop breaking drawing program. Okay, my drawing program hates me. Hold on, bringing it back up. Move it over here. Bang, bang. Infamous still, like, none of these units here really like pushing besides the Phalanx is okay pushing or holding, but they kind of prefer... Phalanx is kind of iffy. But we do have a Claymore, which wants the fight to end fast. We have kind of Reapers. My drawing program keeps breaking. A little bit of a crisis identity here. Definitely a better kind of hold composition by Infamous. You can see kind of how they hold this spot, having that double Phalanx doing that 1-1v, leaving their left side a little bit more open than they would probably like here. As you can see, the Lions kind of capitalizing on that left side being open, and it looks really bad for Infamous kind of getting surrounded there. But they do hold out strong, having some Phalanx there on the stairs. It's definitely rough, but he shoots a dinger, and now there's a Callion actually living through this fight. It's so crazy how much of a difference having your Zykes live through the fight can really change the fight in your favor. I don't think Lions had Zycalians going into this. Let's just rewind a bit, see if they did bring any Zykes into this. Doesn't look like they they do send a DB with a Yorkist into the back, but just it makes it there. You can kind of see the difference of a Coco versus non-Coco, especially that first fight, Coco versus non-Coco, and then now this second fight, Infamous having the Zycalian militia does great things. There isn't many of them left there, but it does look like there is... Okay, there's only 2 models there, I think. Kind of hard to tell because of the achievements going through there. But, you know, still having 2 models of Zycalian throwing onto the blob, you can see how much of a difference that truly made when your comps are fairly even in fighting strength. Having that specialty versus no specialty is incredibly valuable. Now the DB does make it back onto the specialty, which is unfortunate, so they lose all their Zykes and shoots a dinger. And unfortunately now they're at the 2-minute mark. You can see by what's remaining, they have an ISG and maybe a full set of Phalanx here, and we also have the Claymores as well, so a good amount of fighting, but this isn't that great of a clearing units. You see these heroes on that supply point, and with only 2 minutes remaining, they have to clear the supply incredibly fast. No, there's not another match for an hour, Mommy Breaker. And we don't have a Phalanx guarding the back here, so this little Yao by Lions does amazing work clearing through really all of Infamous, and with 1.5 minutes remaining, you just don't have the time to ever capture this supply point. And while Infamous does fight on it for their life, because they do need a supply, they need to get their units back, but unfortunately, you can see Lions now brings the triple Liao and a Kudalier into this fight, which just absolutely cleans house, immediately eviscerating all of Infamous's units. No hope of survival, and with only 1 minute remaining, even if Infamous really had like this point captured, it's going to be very hard for them to really get onto the point and clear it. They do have that Panic Monster coming in trying to give Elliot a good job by this Liao player turning around to kill the Cavs so that they don't get back charged. Now the Infamous only has 3 stalwarts to the Lion Brigade, and unfortunately 3 stalwarts versus that amount of Cav, that amount of units is just not enough. They just did not have the time to really set up for a third push. That will be Lions.